Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Jermaine from That Christian Fam, aka The King's Realm, and today we're going to be talking about the subject, why Jesus? Why did you come to Jesus? Is Jesus enough? And what God paid for us? That and more after the bumper.
Who are we?
That Christian Fam.
Alright, y'all, thanks for joining us on That Christian Fam, aka The King's Realm. Please like and share this video, and please make sure you comment on this video. If this video helps you in any way, shape, or form, please comment. And if you have any commentary to add as far as, how you feel about the video, or this, that, and the other, or just some other key points that, we could actually use here at That Christian Fam, go ahead and, jot that down in the comments, you know what I'm saying? And then also, please don't just passively watch this video. Please engage and make sure that you subscribe to our channel. We're trying to continue to grow our subscriber base as we continue to push the message of Jesus Christ, as we strive to show people that it is still possible to strive to live a life that's pleasing to God in 2020. All right, y'all, so the topic is why Jesus? Well, at least that's the thumbnail. But in short, basically, why did you come to Jesus? Is Jesus enough? And what God paid for us. And the central scripture that we're going to be coming from is a very familiar passage in John 3:16. For those of us who are in the church, those of us who know Jesus Christ, that's one of the first scriptures that we should have learned. And it is John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. All right, y'all, I was led to make this video because it comes from a place of growing frustration, because I have seen and heard people over the years, in an attempt to lead people to Christ, they paint a false picture of Christianity. And they say things like, well, since I came to Christ, since I came to Jesus, there's been great things that have happened and great things are happening. And on top of that, we have these prosperity preachers or glorified motivational speakers. Y'all didn't see no face pop up, did y'all? Y'all sure? Anyways, I must be imagining things. But honestly, y'all, if we gonna keep it a buck, it oftentimes gets worse when you make that decision to follow Christ. This is the reason why you hear so many people say, man, why does it seem like ever since I started following Christ, going to church and, doing all these things, it just seems like my life has gotten worse. Like when I was in the world, I was having fun, I was cool, but like now it just seems like attack after attack, and like all these things are jumping off in my life. Like, what's going on, God? Let me break that down. When you're walking in the same direction with the devil, he has no problems with you. And y'all not set to have some big collision. But the moment you decide to walk the opposite direction of the devil, you're bound to have a collision. It's going to be a major collision that happens. Why? Because you two are going in the opposite direction. Think about it. If you go this way and he's going this way, after a while, if you circle the globe, you're bound to hit each other. If you can skate through life with no problems, that might be a strong indication that you're walking with the devil. Or you're an ineffective believer who poses no threat to his empire with no vision and no purpose. Matter of fact, me and Nikki, we just dropped a video last week on great purpose, great vision, great attacks. I'm gonna put the link in the description below. But I want to pivot real quick and talk about it from another angle. Then we're gonna come back to that. Let's talk about this cherry on top mentality. Basically the good dude, a good person or whatever. So you got this, you got that, and all you need now in your life, this is your mentality. You've done well for yourself in your life, and basically all you need is a little Jesus at this point. Never mind the method in which you use to get where you are. Never mind the thing that you have now that may very well serve as an idol in your life. But we amass all of these things in life, and we get to a certain point in life and we just say, you know what? Now all I need to top it off is just a little Jesus. Basically, I done baked the cake. The cake is is a representation of my life, and now all I need is just a little cherry on top. That's the Jesus I want. And never mind, the fact that I've done certain things and all that. I know Jesus forgives, got all that, but that's not even your major concern. But basically, after I've done everything I want to do in life, let me just sprinkle a little Jesus on top, a little cherry on top. Like, I'll listen to sermons at church and I'll implement all of the things that are advantageous to my life, and the rest of the stuff is just commentary and it's optional. I'm not here for a relationship. I'm okay. I went to Sunday school when I was a kid. I'm fine. I'm more or less here because, I got kids now, and, I'm just here for my kids. I want them to behave. I want them to be good students in class, and I want them to listen to people. But, as far as me, listen, I've done well for myself in life, and now all I need is just Jesus as an insurance policy, just in case things go wrong. Jesus is not the cherry on top. Jesus is the whole cake. He is the cake. He is the cake and he is the cherry. He's not some little, just a little dab, or do you? I just want Jesus in this part of my life. No, Jesus has to be your life. He has to be an intricate part of your life. He is the way. He is the truth. He is the life. Here's another perspective. We hear a lot of rags to riches testimonies. Like, I was doing this, I was doing that, I was doing all of these bad things, and a lot of things were going wrong in my life. But ever since I came to Jesus, things are running smooth, things are running well. And listen, y'all, that may happen. But what if it doesn't happen? See, we have a plague that has infected the church, and it's called a user's mentality. We're only concerned about what God can give us. But what have we given God? You could offer praise, but you sit there like a bump on a log. You could open your mouth, but you quiet as a church mouse peeing on cotton. You could offer your time in volunteering or teaching a class, but you too selfish for that. Think about your relationship with Christ as you would a marriage. In the marriage vows, it says, for better or worse, for richer or poor, in sickness and health. Listen, every one of those great things are counteracted with a negative thing. For better or worse, for richer or poor, in sickness and in health. Think about it. So we have to understand that this is not a gravy train through life just because we accept Jesus Christ. I had a vision, y'all, and I'm gonna share this vision. I had to write it down because it was coming real quick. I had a vision of a giant hand, if y'all can imagine a giant hand, and there was a wooden cross on the ground, this big wooden cross, and keep in mind there was a giant hand. And then you had like a car next to it, and you had a wife next to it. So envision a wife, or whatever your wife looked like. Kids, whatever your kids look like. Golf clubs, first aid kit, which symbolizes health. A briefcase, which symbolizes a businessman or businesswoman. Eiffel Tower, which symbolized traveling, and a band of money. And we had all of these things, but all of these things had question marks on them, meaning they were hoped for things. They were things that you could possibly get in life, things that you wanted out of life, but not absolutes. So this giant hand had all of these things. Now keep in mind, the cross, the wooden cross, was in the center, but around the wooden cross was all of the things that I mentioned, and everything had a question mark on it except for the cross. And one by one, this giant hand picked up everything I mentioned. It picked up the golf clubs, picked up the Eiffel Tower, picked up the kids, picked up the wife, picked up the car, picked up the briefcase, picked up the money. But then lastly, it picked up the wooden cross. And then all of a sudden, it threw it back down to the ground. And when it hit the ground, it didn't make the sound of wood hitting the ground. It made the sound of metal hitting the ground, like this thud, and you heard this clanking sound. And I'm like, God, wait a minute, this is wood. Why is it making a clanking sound like metal? Like it was like, what's going on with that? So what does that mean? And so I started searching and I prayed about it. And the Lord led me to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1, where it says, if I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. And so I'm like, okay, God, please put this together for me. And what I gathered from that is this. Keep in mind, this verse is mentioning another gift from God, but then it talks about love. And God is love. If you know God, then that means that you have love. And if you don't have love or you don't have God, it means nothing. So what does that mean? That equates to my vision. Listen, we want all the gifts of God, but we don't want God. We don't desire relationship. We don't desire intimacy with God. We just want the things that come along with, that we hope come along with him. So the vision I just shared with y'all is saying I would rather have the gifts of God or the things that God could give me, but I don't want an intimate relationship with God. And the reason why it was a giant hand is because that's what a vast majority of people are doing today. So what I'm trying to say today, y'all, is Jesus is not a status symbol. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. He is the payment to the Father that brought us out of darkness and into the marvelous light. He is the payment that changed our final destination from a burning hell to eternal life with God in heaven forever. So examine yourself. Ask yourself, do I really want Jesus? If my health doesn't get better, if I don't get more money in my life, if I never have kids, if I never get married, if I never get the car of my dreams, if I never get the dream house, if I never get the position at my job that I want to get, if I never get to travel the globe like I want to, if my life doesn't get drastically better, is Jesus still enough? I really hope I help somebody today. And if you offended, I really don't care. This is Jermaine from That Christian Fam, aka The King's Realm. I'm out.
I just been ducking from head to night. All of my demons, they wanna fight. Left in them rights, man, I give them no hooks, cause I'm curling, they scheming like Pennywise. I got no time for that game or the issues, man, I'm trying to get it, I'm on the night. Unlimited writtens, cause I got the winning, yeah, God got my back through the wrong and right.